I never thought silence could hurt this much until it became my whole life. After losing my wife, the only woman who understood me without words, I stopped believing in second chances. I wasn't planning to stop anywhere that evening. I was exhausted. Another 12-hour shift. Another day pretending everything was fine. But Mia wouldn't stop tugging my sleeve from the back seat. "Daddy, please. Just one slice of cake." I sighed. "It's not your birthday, pumpkin." She grinned, missing one front tooth. "Then it can be your birthday." That made me laugh, even though my chest ached. I think I stopped having birthdays when you were born. Still, I parked outside the little cafe on the corner. It was warm inside, coffee, cinnamon, and quiet chatter filling the air. We picked a small table near the window. Mia pressed her face against the glass, watching the snow fall. The waitress brought over 2 mugs of cocoa and 1 fat slice of chocolate cake. Mia's eyes sparkled like it was treasure. Then I noticed her. A woman sat alone at the far corner by the big window, young, maybe late 20s. She had long dark hair that framed a pale, beautiful face. A single candle flickered in the middle of a whole cake, untouched. People at the next table sang softly, "Happy birthday to you." She didn't react. Not a smile, not even a blink. Just looked down at her hands. Something about her stillness. It hit me harder than I expected. Mia followed my gaze. "Daddy, why isn't she happy?" "It's her birthday." I forced a smile. "Maybe she's just shy." But I knew that look, the kind that hides pain so deep. Silence feels safer than words. I used to see it in the mirror. The song ended. The group clapped. The woman mouthed something. "Thank you, maybe," but her lips moved slower, uncertain. Then she reached into her bag and pulled out her phone, typing something to waitress. The waitress nodded, smiled, and walked away. That's when I realized it. She hadn't heard a word. My breath caught. I knew those motions, the way her eyes followed lips, not sound, the same way my late wife used to. I looked away, but my mind didn't let go. She's deaf and alone on her birthday. Mia was still staring. "Can we give her some cake?" I shook my head. "She has her own." But nobody's eating with her. Her voice softened into something I couldn't ignore. The truth was, I didn't want to get involved. Life taught me that the more people you care about, the more you can lose. But then I looked at that woman again. How she smiled politely to no one. How her eyes looked like they were waiting for something that never came. And maybe, just maybe, I saw myself there. Mia whispered, "Daddy, can I go say happy birthday?" My throat tightened. It's better not to bother strangers, sweetie. But she looks like she needs a friend. Her words hit harder than any truth I'd faced in years. I stared at my cocoa, now cold, and felt that old ache in my chest, the kind that comes when you realize you've been surviving, not living. I looked up again. The candle on her cake had burned halfway down, still untouched, still no one there. Before I could say anything, Mia climbed off her chair, determination lighting up her tiny face. She took the little paper candle from our slice of cake, still flickering, and marched across the cafe. "Mia," I whispered, standing halfway, but she didn't stop. She walked right up to the woman's table, holding the candle carefully like a secret. "You can share my wish," she said softly. The woman looked up, startled. Then, slowly, beautifully, she smiled. Her first smile that night. And that's where it all began. The woman's smile lingers in my mind even before I can stand up. Mia's already holding her hand, leading her toward our table like she's known her forever. "Daddy," Mia beams. "This is a birthday lady." My pulse quickens. "Mia, sweetheart, you can't just—" I stop mid-sentence. The woman looks at me, uncertain, her eyes searching my lips. I realize she can't hear me. She points to her ear, then shakes her head gently. My stomach drops. "Right, she's deaf." I freeze. How do I even talk to her? My voice suddenly feels useless. Mia looks between us, confused. "Daddy? Say hi." I open my mouth, then close it again. My mind goes blank, until something inside me stirs. Something I thought I'd buried years ago. Sign language. I haven't used it since my wife. My hands tremble as I lift them. Slowly, awkwardly, I form the words, "Happy birthday." The woman's eyes widen. Then her lips part in surprise, and she signs back graceful, fluent movements. I catch half of it. "You sign?" I nod, a little embarrassed. "A little," I say, mouthing the words and gesturing at the same time. "It's been a while." She signs again, slower this time. "Thank you." Then she points to her chest. "Lena." I sign my name back. "Michael." She smiles warmly, then bends down to Mia's level, tracing a heart shape in the air. Mia giggles and copies her. The sound of my daughter's laughter feels louder than the whole cafe. I take a breath, forcing myself to relax. My fingers remember more than I thought they would. "Is this your birthday cake?" I sign. She nods. "Yes, my first birthday alone." Something tightens in my chest. I hesitate, then ask, "Where's your family?" Her gaze drifts toward the window. Snow falls outside, melting against the glass. "They're gone. My parents died last year." I swallow hard. I shouldn't have asked, but she doesn't look angry, just tired. The kind of tired that doesn't come from work, but from missing someone too long. Mia, sensing the heaviness, reaches out and holds Lena's hand. "It's okay," she whispers. "You can share my daddy." Lena's shoulders shake with silent laughter, eyes glistening. She looks at me, signs carefully, "You have a kind daughter." Yeah, I sign back. She's my whole world. Lena watches me for a moment, then signs, "You lost someone too, didn't you?" I blink. "How did you know?" She touches her chest, then her heart. "You look like I feel." For a second, I can't breathe. My hands drop to the table. "Yeah," I whisper, voice rough. "My wife, years ago." Lena nods softly, no pity in her eyes, just understanding, the kind that doesn't need words. Mia interrupts again, her voice full of joy. "Daddy, can we light another candle?" "For her." I look at Lena, then at the small flicker still burning in the middle of her cake. I nod. "Yeah, for her." Lena closes her eyes as Mia lights the tiny candle again. The flame dances between us, small but steady. When we finally get up to leave, Lena signs something I'll never forget. "Thank you for hearing me." Those words follow me all the way home, echoing louder than any sound I've heard in years. Lena's last words echo in my head. "Thank you for hearing me." I can't stop thinking about them. They follow me home, settle in the quiet corners of my apartment like old ghosts. Mia falls asleep quickly, her small hand resting on my arm. I brush her hair back and just stare at her. She's growing so fast. Too fast. But I can't sleep. Not with that voice. No, not a voice, that silence, pulling me back to a place I thought I'd buried. Lena's hands. Her expressions. The way her eyes lit up when I signed those simple words. "Happy birthday." It felt like something inside me cracked open. I roll onto my back and stare at the ceiling. My fingers move on their own, tracing the old signs in the air. "I love you. Always." I haven't done that in years. Not since her. My wife. The memory hits without warning. The smell of antiseptic, the hum of machines, the white sheets that look too clean belong in a room filled with so much pain. I hear myself whispering to her back then, "I'll never stop signing. I promise." But I did. After she died, I couldn't lift my hands again. Every sign felt like betrayal, like calling her back into a world that had already taken her away. Now Lena, a stranger with kind eyes and the same quiet strength, had made me remember everything I'd been running from. I closed my eyes, but the memories play anyway. Mike. She'd signed weakly that last night, fingers trembling. "Promise me you'll keep talking to her this way." She met Mia, our daughter. She was only 3 then. "I promise." I broke it. My throat tightens. Guilt presses down like weight on my chest. I remember Mia trying to sign to me one day, tiny hands fumbling with shapes she barely understood. I told her, "Use your words, sweetheart." And she did. She stopped signing. Maybe I killed more than a promise that day. Maybe I buried part of us. I sit up, careful not to wake her. The clock says 1:47 a.m. The world outside is asleep, but my heart won't quiet down. Lena's face keeps appearing. How she smiled without sound, how she spoke without words. She didn't need to hear to listen. And me? I've spent years surrounded by noise, and I still don't hear a damn thing. I rub my eyes, whispering to the dark, "What are you doing to me, Lena?" Silence answers. For the first time in years, I don't hate it. I look down at Mia again. Her small chest rises and falls, peaceful. I reach out and trace the sign for love above her, the way her mom used to. My fingers tremble, but the movement feels right, like breathing again. Maybe it's time. Maybe it's time to stop running from the ghosts I carry and face them. By morning, the decision is made. I'm going back to that cafe. To thank Lena, I tell myself. But deep down, I already know the truth. I just want to see her again. I told myself it was just to thank her. Nothing more. But the next afternoon, I found myself parking outside the same cafe. Mia humming in the back seat. "Are we getting cake again?" she asked, swinging her legs. "Maybe," I said, forcing a smile. "Or maybe we're just saying hello." When we walked in, she was there, Lena. Same corner table. This time, no cake, just a sketchbook open in front of her, a pencil moving across the page. Mia spotted her first. "Daddy, it's her." Lena looked up, eyes lighting instantly. She waved to Mia, then to me. Her hands moved gently in sign, "You came back." I felt my throat tighten. I lifted my hands, still awkward but trying. I said I would thank you. Her smile deepened. She gestured for us to sit. Mia didn't wait for permission. She hopped into the seat beside her. "What's your drawing?" Lena tilted her notebook toward us. It was a sketch of the cafe. The tables, the light, even the slice of chocolate cake Mia had shared with her yesterday. Mia gasped, "That's me." Lena laughed silently, then wrote on her notepad, "Of course, the girl who shared her wish." I couldn't help smiling. "You're good," I said softly, mouthing the words so she could read my lips. She signed modestly, "Just a hobby. My real life is louder." I frowned. "Louder?" She scribbled something quickly and turned the pad around. "I'm supposed to run a company. My father's company. Meetings, cameras, fake smiles. Noise." I nodded slowly. "So the cafe is your quiet place." She smiled again, the kind that hides tiredness behind grace. Then she signed, "Money makes noise but never sound." Something about that hit deep. I looked down at my coffee. "Yeah," I muttered. "Silence has more meaning than most people think." She tilted her head, curious. "You understand silence," she signed. I hesitated. Fingers still. "I used to." I signed back. Then I stopped listening. Her eyes softened. She didn't push. Instead, she turned to Mia and signed slowly. "Want to learn your name and sign?" Mia's eyes widened. Yes. Teach me." I watched as Lena showed her the motions. M-I, slow and gentle. Mia copied each one with full concentration, tongue between her teeth. When she got it right, Lena clapped silently, grinning. Mia giggled and threw her arms around her. "You're so cool." Lena looked surprised, then hugged her back. I couldn't stop the warmth that rose in my chest. For months, maybe years, it had just been me and Mia, our small world of routine, exhaustion, and unspoken grief. But seeing her light up around Lena felt like a window opening. When Lena looked at me again, she signed softly, "You're a good father." I shook my head. "Trying." I mouthed. She smiled, that knowing kind. Try means caring. I didn't have an answer for that. We talked until dusk, half with signs, half through scribbled notes, and somehow we understood everything that mattered. As we stood to leave, Lena bent toward me and signed something slow and clear. I caught the words, "Maybe next time I can teach you more." Then she looked at me. "Maybe I can teach both of you." I nodded, pretending it was casual, but as we walked out into the cold evening air, Mia holding my hand and humming, one thought wouldn't leave me. Maybe she was already becoming part of our little world. Lena kept her promise. The next Saturday afternoon, she knocked on our door, arms full of notebooks, markers, and that quiet smile that always made the air feel softer. Mia ran to open it before I could. "Lena, you came." Mia squealed, pulling her inside. I rubbed the back of my neck. "Sorry about the mess." I muttered, "Small apartment, big kid." Lena chuckled silently, signing, "Small home, big love." I don't know why, but that hit me harder than it should have. For the next few hours, our living room turned into a classroom. Mia sat cross-legged on the floor, while Lena taught her signs for colors, animals, emotions. Mia signed awkwardly, cat, her fingers bent wrong. Lena laughed, corrected her gently. Then she looked at me. "You too," she signed, pointing. "Me?" She nodded. I groaned, sitting beside them. "All right, teacher. Show me." Her hands moved gracefully, every motion smooth and deliberate. "Family, home, love." I tried to copy. My hands felt heavy, clumsy. Mia giggled. "Daddy, you're worse than me?" "Thanks for the confidence boost," I said dryly. But I was smiling. For a while, everything felt easy. The laughter, the warmth, the silence between us that wasn't empty anymore. Then my phone buzzed. My boss's name flashed across the screen. I hesitated before answering. "Yeah." His voice barked through the speaker. "We need that report tonight. No excuses. You're behind again." I turned away from them, jaw tightening. "Sir, it's Saturday. I just need... Do you want this job or not?" The line clicked dead. I stared at the blank screen for a long second before the frustration broke through. I slammed the phone down harder than I meant to. Mia jumped. Lena looked up, startled. "I'm sorry," I muttered, pacing. Damn it." Lena stood slowly. "Work?" She signed. "Yeah, work. Always work," I said, running a hand through my hair. "He wants me in tonight." I just can't deal with this right now." She hesitated, then signed softly. "I can wait. We can help Mia together." I shook my head. "No, Lena, not tonight. I need to focus." Her eyes flickered, something between hurt and understanding. "I'll go," she signed. "Lena!" That's not what I... But she was already picking up her bag. Mia grabbed her sleeve. "No, don't go yet." Lena bent down, smiled gently, and signed to Mia, "Next time." I stood there frozen as she left quietly. No sound, no goodbye, just the soft click of the door. The silence afterward felt heavier than ever. Mia looked at me, her small hands trembling as she tried to sign something. I watched, confused, until I understood. Daddy hurt her heart. The words hit harder than any scolding could. I sank onto the couch, facing my hands. She crawled up beside me, whispering, "You didn't mean to, right?" "No," I said quietly. "But sometimes meaning to isn't enough." She rested her head on my shoulder. "Then you should say sorry." I looked toward the door, the echo of Lena's silence still hanging there. "Yeah," I murmured, "I will." But when I finally got up to go find her, she was already gone. I spent 3 days searching for her. The cafe owner said she hadn't come in since that night. Her apartment door stayed locked, her phone unanswered. Every hour that passed felt heavier. Mia kept asking, "Daddy, did Lena forget us?" I wanted to tell her no, but I didn't know any more. On the 4th day, I got a call. A nurse's voice. Calm, careful. "Are you a friend of Miss Lena Hart?" My throat went dry. "Yes, what happened?" "She's at St. Mary's. Exhaustion, dehydration, stress. You might want to visit." The world seemed to tilt for a second. I grabbed my coat before the call even ended. The hospital smelled like antiseptic and something colder, loneliness maybe. When I stepped into her room, the sight broke me. She looked so small, pale against the white sheets, her hair tied back loosely. Her sketchbook rested beside her bed. She looked up, and for a second, her eyes widened in surprise, then softened. I sat down quietly. "You scared me, Lena." Her lips curved weakly, and her hands moved slowly, trembling. "Don't blame yourself." I swallowed hard. I do, though. I pushed you away. Again. She shook her head. You didn't push me. I ran. Why? I whispered. She looked away. Her fingers moved, halting but honest. When people get close, they leave. It's easier if I leave first. Something inside me cracked at that, because I'd done the same thing. I reached for her sketchbook. Can I? She nodded. I opened it and froze. Page after page was filled with drawings. Mia's laugh. Her small hands signing clumsily. Me, sitting beside her, smiling in ways I didn't know I could anymore. She had drawn us. Her world, silent but full. I felt tears sting my eyes. You drew my family. Her hands moved again, slower this time. I wished for it, for a sound I could feel, not hear. That line, it hit deeper than any word ever could. For the first time since my wife's death, I wasn't thinking about loss. I was thinking about what was still left, what I could build again. I leaned forward, speaking softly. You don't have to wish anymore, Lena. You already gave us something real. Her eyes glistened. She reached out and touched my hand, just for a second, then signed, Promise you won't leave this time. I felt my chest tighten. There were no walls left, no excuses. I nodded slowly, took her hand gently, and signed the only word I truly meant, one she had taught me herself. Never. Her eyelids fluttered. A faint smile lingered on her lips before she drifted into sleep. I sat there for a long time, holding her hand, watching her breathe. Mia's voice echoed in my head. Daddy hurt her heart. Maybe this time I could help it heal. For the first time in years, I didn't feel like a man running from ghosts. I felt like a man coming home. Lena's fingers were still weak, but every time I saw her move them, I felt something inside me mend. She was getting better, slowly, carefully. The doctor said she needed rest, but Mia refused to let her heal alone. Every afternoon after school, Mia tugged on my sleeve. Daddy, can we go see Miss Lena today? I'd always say yes. Somehow, visiting that hospital room became our routine, our rhythm. When we'd walk in, Mia would burst through the door, her small voice bright. Hi, Miss Lena. I brought flowers. They're pink this time. Lena's eyes would light up every time. Her hands moved gently. Thank you, Mia. Mia looked up at me expectantly, whispering, Daddy, what did she say? I'd sign and translate. She said, thank you. Mia giggled. Then tell her, you're welcome, pretty lady. I laughed, shaking my head, but I signed it anyway. Lena blushed slightly, hiding her smile behind her hand. At night, after putting Mia to bed, I found myself practicing signs again. My fingers remembered more than my heart did. Apple, happy, love. Simple words that used to mean everything. I realized I was teaching Mia something I once tried to bury, the same language I'd used with my late wife. But this time it didn't hurt. It healed. A few weeks later, Lena was strong enough to sit by the hospital garden. The evening light fell over her face like gold dust. Mia ran circles around her, her laughter echoing off the walls. I stood a few steps away, watching. There was a peace there I hadn't known in years. Mia stopped suddenly and turned to Lena. Miss Lena, watch. She lifted her small hands, fingers fumbling, and signed clumsily, friend. Lena gasped softly, eyes shimmering. Then she lifted her hands and signed back. Can I be your friend forever? Mia stared for a second, then turned to me. Daddy, what did she say? I knelt beside her and whispered. She asked if she could be your friend forever. Mia smiled wide, then shook her head. No. My heart sank. No. She looked at Lena again, then signed slowly, the way I taught her. Each movement honest and pure. Be my mom instead. Lena froze. Her eyes filled instantly. She looked at me, lost, as if asking if she'd read it right. I nodded. Tears rolled down her cheeks before she could even sign a word. She covered her mouth, shoulders shaking. Mia ran forward and hugged her tight. I didn't move. Couldn't. Something cracked open in me. The fear, the guilt, the years of silence. All gone. I walked over and placed my hand on Lena's shoulder. She looked up, her eyes still wet but brighter than I'd ever seen. I signed slowly, "You already are." For a long time, none of us said anything. We didn't need to. Mia leaned her head against Lena's chest, and Lena held her close. Watching them, I felt something I hadn't dared to feel in years. Hope. And that night, when I tucked Mia in, that same hope whispered inside me like a heartbeat. I was falling in love again. And for the first time, I wasn't afraid. Mia's birthday candles flickered in front of her, lighting her face like the sun I thought I'd lost years ago. Lena stood beside her, holding the cake steady. "Ready?" I signed with a smile. Mia nodded eagerly, her little hands already forming the words, "Ready, Daddy." Everyone we cared about, neighbors, co-workers, a few friends, filled our small living room. But all I saw was the two of them. My world. "Okay, on 3, I said aloud. 1, 2, 3. Mia puffed her cheeks and blew. The flames went out, and cheers filled the room. Lena clapped softly, not for the sound, but for the joy of it. Her laughter was silent but radiant, like music only my heart could hear. After cake came chaos. Wrapping paper flying, frosting smudges, Mia's giggles echoing through the house. I leaned against the kitchen counter, just watching. Lena walked up beside me, wiping a bit of cream from her wrist. She signed, "She's happy." I nodded. "She is, because of you." Her brows lifted slightly. "No, because of us." The word "us" hit deeper than I expected. I wanted to say something back, but Mia ran over, tugging at my sleeve. "Daddy, you didn't make a wish," she said, cheeks pink from excitement. I crouched down beside her. "Sweetheart, it's your birthday, not mine." "But you have to," she insisted, her tiny hands moving fast as she signed each word. Her sign smoother now, clearer. "You always tell me to dream. So make a wish, Daddy." Her voice trembled on the last word. And for a second, so did my heart. Lena was across the table, setting down the plates. She looked up at me, eyes calm, warm. I could feel her waiting. So I took a deep breath and signed slowly, each word heavy with meaning. I already have everything I wished for. Lena froze. Then, after a heartbeat, she smiled. The kind of smile that could break and heal a man in the same second. She signed back, then said it out loud. I hesitated. My throat went dry. It had been years since I'd said those words to anyone. The last time, my wife had been in a hospital bed, smiling through pain. I'd sworn I'd never speak love again. It hurt too much when silence followed. But now, this silence felt different. It wasn't empty anymore. It was full. So I stepped closer to Lena. My hands trembled, not from fear, but from feeling too much. "Lena," I whispered, voice barely a breath. "I love you." She couldn't hear it, but she felt it. Her eyes glistened, and she reached up, pressing her palm gently against my chest, right over my heart. "I know," she signed, her fingers moving softly. "I feel it." Mia squealed suddenly. "Are you gonna kiss her, Daddy?" I laughed, shaking my head. "You really don't miss a thing, huh?" Lena laughed too, soundless but so alive. And then, with Mia between us, she reached out her hand. I took it. Mia placed her small hand on top of ours. We signed together, 3 pairs of hands, one word. Family. The lights shimmered. The candles melted down to stubs, and laughter filled the room like air after a long storm. For the first time in years, the silence didn't ache. It belonged. Because in that quiet, I didn't just hear love. I lived it,